up, everybody? I'm your host, Will. Welcome to Fandom Frequency, where we get into the entire multiverse of pop culture, horror, comic book movies, anime, wrestling. We get into it all around here, so make sure you click all the buttons below the video and show that love and show the support. We're always trying to grow the community over here, and our big goal is 1,000 subscribers this year for 2024. So let's do it, and let's do it together. But today, we're going to get into something that's a little bit of a modern classic, if you will, something that's a little bit going to be in the retro review segment today. And we're talking about something that completely blew me away, and I was completely late to the party, and I'm talking about 2007's Wreck. And this is such a kick-ass horror movie, man. I'm telling you, this is what found footage movies are always striving to be. This thing was so well executed from top to bottom. I'm just going to spoil my thoughts right then and there. I think this film is fucking incredible. Now, a lot of you might have heard about this film from the 2008 US remake they did. Man, I'm forgetting that actress's name, but I'm gonna throw that up in here because editing magic, baby. But that was with that, and completely from what I heard, I haven't seen the remake yet, but maybe I'll get around to it at some point just for comparison's sake. But from what I hear and from some of the footage I have seen, it does seem like they just kind of retread all the same plot beats and the same kind of scares and the same framing of the shots and everything like that from this original 2007 film, which was released in November 23rd, 2007, which was very, very close to my 13th birthday, by the way, 6 days before. And it's a Spanish horror film, so it is completely in Spanish, and it does come with English subtitles. If there is a dub version out there, I implore you, please do not watch that because the Spanish version, much more well executed. The acting is so on point. And foreign filmmakers tend to just have a better eye for just making things completely unsettling and really bathing their films in atmosphere. That's the one thing with foreign horror movies and thrillers that I have noticed from the select ones that I have watched over the years in my adulthood, now that I'm approaching 30. So maybe for the last like 10 or so years, I've been watching these kind of films, mostly in the horror thriller genre, but I have checked out a couple action movies and things like that, especially Hong Kong and Japanese cinema. But when it comes to more horror thriller stuff, especially from like Italian, Spanish filmmakers, European, like French filmmakers, things like that, they tend to just have more balls and really go for it. And that's the thing I really love with this film. It was directed by a duo, two guys by the name of Paco Plaza and let me make sure I'm getting this right here, Jaime Balagiro. I probably completely butchered that, as you know, but I'm trying here. I'm trying. But yeah, so it was directed by those guys, and it was also written by them and another writer named Luiso Bordillo, and those guys teamed up together to create this film. And essentially, the premise of it, if you're not aware, if you just decided to click on the video and don't mind spoilers, essentially, it follows a news crew, one played by Manuela Vasquela, Velasca, sorry. And the character's name is Angela, and she's teaming up with her cameraman Pablo, played by the actor Pablo Rosso, funny enough. And they're going in to hang out with some firefighters and things like that and kind of document their day-to-day life. It's just kind of a puff piece that they're doing for the news station they work for over there in Barcelona, Spain, if I'm not mistaken. And what ends up happening is they go on a call with these firefighters that we do meet in like the first 20 to 30 minutes of the film. And I do appreciate how they take time to kind of get to know the characters a little bit, get to kind of see the day in the life of the firefighters and kind of go through the mundane thing of them covering this story until they uncover the real story when they go to this call where this lady is attacking people and going nuts. And apparently it is because she is infected with some crazy virus that they're completely unaware of, and they all end up getting barricaded by the police and the health inspectors and all that stuff, and they end up getting stuck in there with this crazy ass scenario, and all fucking hell breaks loose, dude. Shit hits the fan quickly, and I love that with this film. It is so frenetic, and it is just so action-packed all the way through. It's like a tight 80 minutes, and normally that would kind of worry me a bit because even most horror films are usually around 90 to 100 minutes. But for this one, they cut the fat and they get straight to the point. Once this lady goes apeshit and bites the freaking cop that's trying to interrogate and see what's going on, and bites homie in the neck vampire style and just completely kills the dude in the hallway, everything goes completely to fucking crazy. And the film never stops from there. It is just nonstop suspense, nonstop thrills, and it's just like people getting attacked, people getting killed, people running through tight corridors in this apartment complex, trying to get to the other room and close the door before someone gets to them. It's just complete nonstop action and nonstop scares, man, and I love it. And the found footage element of this film with the news crew totally plays a lot better because they think they're uncovering some kind of conspiracy or some kind of big thing, and they think they're getting treated wrong by being stuck in that apartment complex with these people going apeshit and having this virus going on, a la 28 Days Later style. But the thing is, what else are they going to do? We all just lived through the pandemonium that happened 2020 to 2022-ish or whatever, right? So we all know what happened there. And I feel that this was pretty accurate, that they would just lock them in there and say, you can't come out until we figure out who's infected, who's not, where this came from, what it is, and all that good jazz. And that was the thing about me that really put you in the realism of this film and really got me sucked into the experience right away, because all of us living through pandemonium in the last couple years, and the first time in 100 years in this country and all that stuff and all across the world, that was something I think that really makes this film age like a fine wine and plays even better today for some of us that lived through that experience, and some people that are going to look back on it, like some of the kids that were born around this time. I think this is going to make this film even have more relevancy for generations to come and things like that, because with COVID-19 and all that crazy shit, that's going to be a big historical event that we're all going to see throughout the next few decades and all that shit. So that's the thing I think that really plays well with this film, is the way that they're able to put the realism of what would happen if people are getting attacked and a virus is breaking out in this sort of manner, in this small contained space, when they've been trying to get a handle on it. And this is really the only way they kind of can do it. So that's the whole reason why they're filming everything, because they want to uncover what the hell's going on in this whole conspiracy that they think is going on. But it plays so well. They even have to use the camera for night vision and things like that in order to see in dark spaces and things like that. And those scenes are so freaking tense with Angela and Pablo near the end of the movie, when essentially everyone's already got. And it's just intense, man. And just the whole element of how people are just going at each other and getting paranoid and things like that really, really plays well. And I think those are the elements of movies like The Thing and different things like that, where I really dig the paranoia and people really going at each other when they're in these tense scenarios. Another movie that does that great, The Mist, from around the same year, 2007, 2008, the Frank Darabont film based off the Stephen King story. So all that kind of stuff really plays well in this film. And like I mentioned earlier, the acting is all top-notch across the board. But I really want to give a lot of love to Pablo Rosso and Manuela Velasco. They do such a phenomenal job at really creating the characters and really getting you in the sense of the fear that they're feeling, and in the whole, and as the situation gets crazier and crazier, they start to lose their shit and really have to try to, and Pablo really has to work hard to try to keep Angela to really get her to hold it together and things like that, where at first she kind of seems like very headstrong and seems like she's going to handle and stay on top of it, but after a while she starts to break down, because essentially at one point it just seems like all hope is gone. There is no hope for them to survive the situation whatsoever. And they're stuck with this crazy-ass creature at the end of this thing that's like a hybrid or some thing that, and it's all from this experiment that they were trying to do from this so-called possession that happened. And the whole backstory of it all really plays well, too, where they do kind of explain a lot of it, but not necessarily explain every little painstaking detail and all that stuff. It does leave room in the sequels that I do know are out there for them to explore different things in the lore if they wanted to. But if they wanted to make this a one and done back in the day, I think it would have played just as well. It might have even benefited them a little bit. And I am aware that Manuela Velasco is in all of the Rec films as well, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's 3, if not 4. I think there's 3 of them. And I think she's in all of those. She's in both the sequels. Might have been a 4th one. I can't remember. But either way, I hear she's like kind of the final girl of the franchise, and things do pick up with her at the end there, because it does seemingly seem like she's going to be dead at the end of the movie when she gets dragged back and everything, but apparently she survives, so spoiler alert for the future, I guess, and it does make me kind of curious about the future installments of the franchise, so I might get into that on the channel here at some point, but yeah, man, there's just so many tense sequences and everything, man. Like when the CDC guy or whatever, the health guy comes in and he ends up getting infected and everything and runs away from them, and he ends up turning and everything at the end. That's insane. And when they're running up the stairwell, and then Manu, one of the firefighters, he ends up getting infected and then ends up chasing them himself, and then chases them all the way up to this top story where they find all the secrets and what's been going down in the attic. Like, there's just so many tense sequences. And the one that's almost probably the most famous or infamous in this movie is when the body is dropped from the top of the staircase and falls right there in the lobby, unbeknownst to anyone, and surprises the shit out of everybody. And god damn, dude, like, it was insane. And it was just so well done, because you did not see that coming from anywhere. That was one of the best jump scares I've ever seen, dude. Like, so many great jump scares in this movie, and they don't rely on that either. It really relies on tension and atmosphere and real scares and emotion to really drive this thing. But when they get into the jump scares, it's fucking effective, let me tell you what. But yeah, man, this is a kick-ass movie. If you have not seen 2007's Wreck, you need to go out and see it. No one ever calls it Record, so I'm calling it Wreck like everyone else. Go out and check this out. I might get to the remake at some point, but put that on the back burner like I'm doing. Check out Wreck. It is one of the most underrated found footage movies, and in my mind, might be the best found footage movie of all time. But you let me know what you think about this film down below, and if you think that's a hot take and whatnot. I always appreciate each and every one of you for sticking through to the end and checking this out. Make sure you're clicking the subscribes and all that. We got a lot of cool content coming at you, horror and non-horror and all that stuff. We got some cool movies coming out in February. We got Argyle, Lisa Frankenstein, and other things to come like Avatar: The Last Airbender over on Netflix. We're going to be covering all this stuff. We got a weekly long-form show, the Fandom Frequency Show, where we cover tons of different topics in the world and the news of pop culture. So make sure you're jumping over there. It's going to be every single week on the channel, so don't miss that. Appreciate you. Much love. Stay safe out there. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.